All right, so it's my honor to be introducing the next person who's taking our stage today. It's founder and CEO of Katie Lance Consulting, also co-founder of Inman Next. She was just recently named as one of the top 100 most influential people in real estate, and we are honored today to have Katie Lance as our keynote speaker. So please give her a warm welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good. We'll try one more time. How's everybody doing? Good. I realize you've got your mouth half full, so thank you so much. I'm just thrilled to be here today. Big thanks to Fidelity and Chelsea for inviting me to speak here today. Just out of curiosity, have any of you ever heard me speak before, or seen a webinar of mine, or read a blog of mine? Okay, thank you. Awesome. Hey, Rajiv. So, for those of you who don't know me, I previously was with Inman News. Actually, to take a step back further, I loved hearing the Cutco gal talk because I got my start with Cutco many years ago in college. Awesome product. And my whole background is marketing and branding. I worked for Inman News for a number of years, really helped to build their social media platforms. When I started Inman, we had a social reach of about 6,000 or so friends and followers. And when I left 2 years ago, we were hovering right around 300,000, which was pretty exciting. And about 2 years ago, I got the entrepreneurial bug, decided to go out on my own and start my own consulting firm. I always say it was from being around so many great real estate agents that I got that entrepreneurial bug. But now I get the opportunity to work with a lot of great companies. I consult for a lot of companies in the real estate space, companies like DocuSign and Remax, SmartZip, who's here today, as well as some other really great companies, helping them with their social media strategy. I also do coaching for agents, I do a lot of speaking, and so I really get an opportunity to kind of have a bird's eye view when it comes to the real estate industry. So today we're going to talk about really the big picture and honing your online strategy, which is, it could be a conference in and of itself. It's such a big topic. But I'd like to start today with a story about United Airlines. So I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with United Airlines. And it's very ironic that I'm starting with this story because about 10 minutes ago I got a text from United saying my flight was canceled tonight. So I thought, how ironic. So I do have a love-hate relationship with United. I fly quite a bit. I do a lot of, I'm speaking kind of all over the country. And about a year and a half ago, I was on a flight to Toronto. I left SFO. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. Left SFO, and about 15 minutes into the flight, I heard the sound you never want to hear on an airplane. It was this awful kind of grumbling noise. And very quickly after, the pilot got on the line and said, "We're terribly sorry. We are experiencing slight engine trouble." I don't think he said it just like that, but that's what I heard. "We're going to turn around and land back at SFO." And I have to say that was actually the good part of the day. The day sort of went downhill from there. Everyone kind of took out their cell phones. We were texting our friends and family. We landed just fine, which is great, so kudos to the pilot. The problem really happened once we got off the plane. So imagine, if you will, I just got really loud too. So imagine, if you will, a plane full of people, 200 or 300 people, landing at a gate that didn't expect us. Right? We get off the gate, and there's another 200 or 300 people at the gate in San Francisco waiting for their plane. So at gate 74, or whatever gate it was, there was 500 or so pretty unhappy United customers. And United, quite frankly, didn't know what to do with us. It was a little bit of a hot mess. It was just a disaster. I was at the airport for about 6 or 7 hours, never actually got to Toronto. Unfortunately, I had to get in my car and drive home. And as a social media person, I was a bit frustrated, and I did what probably a lot of people would do at that point, and I sent a tweet. So I tweeted United Airlines. Now, not surprising, United didn't tweet me back, but I did get a response from somebody. Virgin America tweeted me back. So Virgin America tweeted me back and said, "We're so sorry you had such a bad day today. The next time you fly, we hope you'll fly with us." And I'm learning I should have listened. I don't know if Virgin flies into Phoenix, but that tweet, I probably told that story to hundreds and hundreds of real estate professionals all across the country. And it was such a reminder to me that just because you aren't there doesn't mean the conversation isn't happening. Right? Just because United wasn't there to respond didn't mean that someone else wasn't there and ready and willing to take on that conversation. And so I want to start with that story because that's really the basis for what we're talking about today. Not just social media, not just your website, not just video or your blog or Facebook ads or SEO or all these things we learn about. It's all important. And we're living in a time that's changing faster than ever before. News, the way news is spread, is changing like never before. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, as I mentioned, and a few weeks ago we had an earthquake in Napa. Now, I live about an hour from Napa. I love wine, so my first thought was, how are the wineries? And I felt the earthquake. It was about 3:30 in the morning. I woke up. It was actually fairly strong for being an hour away. I turned on the TV. Nothing was being reported, of course, because it literally just happened. I went to Twitter and typed in earthquake. Hundreds and hundreds of tweets, right? I just felt it. Did you feel it? Oh my gosh, look what just happened, right? And this is what we're experiencing. If you think about what happened recently with the tragedy with, Robin Williams or Joan Rivers, all these things that happen that are in the news, where do they 9 times out of 10 break first? A lot of times it's through social media. This tweet was sort of the tweet heard around the world when Obama was reelected. Regardless of where you stand politically, it was pretty amazing that he actually announced his reelection through Twitter. It wasn't on the TV, it wasn't through a phone call, but the first acknowledgement that he had been reelected was this tweet. And this tweet has since been one of the most retweeted tweets of all time. I really feel like, we're living in an age of going back to small town values. Many of us sort of went through this phase of the big box era with the Walmarts and the Targets and the Borders and all these big businesses. And we're seeing a lot of those big box companies closing down, reorganizing, changing the way they do business. And things like social media and online marketing have opened up opportunities to get to know our customers, our clients, our realtor partners better than ever before. It's like the time of my grandparents where they could go to the corner market and the butcher would know exactly what kind of meat they wanted for the day, or they would know the name of their kids. And we're seeing that more and more as we sort of shift back to sort of these old-time values, traditional values. There's a lot of companies that we never thought would go bankrupt. We never thought. Kodak, right? Kodak, interestingly enough, invented the digital camera, or was one of the inventors of the digital camera. But as we all know, was so nervous to let go of one of their biggest moneymakers, film, right? And because of that resistance to making that change and adjusting their business model, they've since reorganized, right? Another one I'm sure we're very familiar with, Blockbuster, right? Who would have ever thought, right? How many of you remember going on a Saturday night to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video and getting a movie, getting a tape, right? I'm totally dating myself for all the millennials listening. Blockbuster, same thing. Netflix came around and people said, that DVD in the mail thing, no one's going to do that. No one's going to stream online movies. But it's amazing how things have changed. Facebook. A lot of times people talk to me about Facebook or social media, and they talk about it as if it's this really new thing. It's not really new anymore. Facebook actually celebrated its 10-year anniversary this past February, and it's something that's not going to go away. Now, I'll be the first to say it's not the end-all and be-all. It's not the magic bullet. A lot of things that used to work still work really well. Right? Facebook doesn't take the place of a handshake. It doesn't take the place of meeting someone for coffee or picking up the phone. It doesn't replace a handwritten note. But it's one more tool in your toolbox when you're keeping in touch with clients, when you're keeping in touch with your realtor partners, with brokers that you want to keep in touch with. These are my 2 boys, Owen and Luke. No relation to the Wilson brothers. Owen is 7, just turned 7. Luke is 4. Just turned 4, and I love this photo of them with the iPad. I sort of have to wrangle the iPad out of their hands every day because they know this device better than I do. And they are growing up in a world that is so different than the world I grew up in, the world that so many of us grew up in. They don't quite understand why the TV doesn't work when they walk up to it and they try to swipe it. I don't understand, Mommy. This happens almost every day. So what I'm going to talk a little bit about today is being really intentional. I was asked to talk about putting together an online strategy, and there's so much to talk about. It's pretty overwhelming, right? I talk to agents and brokers and title reps and people in mortgage and people throughout this real estate industry, and it's overwhelming the amount of information and options that are available. But being intentional, being really focused about what you want to accomplish and who you want to reach is one of the first steps. So what I always say is everything starts with your brand. Everything starts with who you are. I think the word brand gets kind of muddled sometimes. A lot of times we think of brand as the logo or the colors on our website. And everybody has a brand. You know, the word personal brand is kind of a hot buzzword right now. But your brand is what people are saying about you when you're not in the room. Right? And so I really encourage you, when you think about your online strategy and you're thinking about how you talk about yourself and your business online, whether it's your website or your YouTube channel or your Facebook page, is it conveying who you are? Is it conveying your culture? And is it conveying how it feels like to work with you? So many times I'll go on an agent's website or someone's website, and I'll click that About tab, and it'll say kind of the same thing. It'll say words like honesty, integrity, experience, educated. They'll have lots of different acronyms of things that they've accomplished, their education. But very rarely does it show me what it feels like to work with that person, right? And what that personal aspect is. And that's really where a lot of this online marketing really starts with. One of the things I always say is it's not black or white. A lot of people try to say, well, Kate, my professional life's over here, and my business and my personal life's over here, and I like to keep them separate. My dad said that for a long time. Katie, I've got my business over here and my personal life over here. And I said to him, Dad, as much as I respect that, we're living in a time where there's a little bit of gray, right? And we're living in a time where, especially in real estate, in this industry, it's such a people business, right? It's probably one of the main reasons all of you are in this business, because it's a people business. And one of the things I always say is, people work with you because of your experience and your expertise and your knowledge, how quickly you get a job done, but they connect with you. And they work with you time and time again because you're a mom and I'm a mom, because you love wine and I love wine, because you love to garden, I love to garden. Or you're a 49er fan, go Niners, sorry. Just had to throw that in, sorry. People connect with you. I just lost the whole room. People connect with you over these personal things, right? Really, really key. So your online strategy really breaks down to kind of 4 key areas. There's your website, content marketing, mobile, and social media. And within each one of these 4 buckets, there's so many other things. There's things like SEO and advertising and blogging and video and many, many things. But I'm going to try to cover in a short period of time these 4 things. So your website. One of the things I'm excited about seeing, one of the transformations that I've seen really in the last 5 years are people in the industry really understanding that their website can't be a static website anymore. Right? The websites that we all started with 10 or 20 years ago were this website that you created and then you didn't really look at for a long period of time. And we're living in an age where you want to have your website content updated. And the way that you can do that, obviously, is through a blog. Now, the word blog, for whatever reason, intimidates a lot of people. We hear people say all the time, I don't write, I don't have time for that. But there's a tremendous value, and if you can have a portion of your website that you control, whether it's a blog or whether it's a specific page on your site, where you can insert your opinion, right? Where you can answer questions. I mean, think about, for example, your email inbox. Some of you might be checking your email right now as I'm saying this. If you go to your sent email box, look at all the questions that you get asked all the time. I always say, if someone asks me the same question twice, that's a great blog post, right? Because when you can create your own content, when you can put your own voice out there, whether it's on your site or whether it's a video, whether it's a blog post, you are coming at it from a leadership position, right? And you're really establishing yourself as that leader. So is it living? Is it breathing? I always say answer the questions you get asked time and time again. Design is extremely important in a website, right? Extremely important. One of the things I'm starting to see as well is really an understanding of that in this industry. I'm seeing less and less clip art, which is exciting. I'm seeing less and less stock photos, which is exciting. And I'm seeing really that realtors and the industry as a whole are really understanding that good design is important, that it pays to have a good graphic designer, or even to use a site like 99 Designs or some of the other sources that are available out there. Good design is really, really important. It's that business card online. It's that first impression. And so when you think about your online presence, one of the things to think about are, what are the words that describe who you are? There's such power in words. And one of my good friends, Deborah Trapin, she runs a blog, D11 Consulting. If you want to read a good blog about branding, go to d11consulting.com. And one of the things Deborah talks about are the power of words. And so whether you're at the beginning stages of thinking about your online strategy, or maybe you've been going down this road for some time, it's really important to think about what are the words that describe who you are. You know, whether it's sassy or professional or happy-go-lucky or fun or all the different words that describe you, because that's really the starting place for not only your website, but your voice in social media, any videos that you do, anything that sort of touches the online space. So content marketing, this is a huge piece of your presence, of how you are online. Content marketing is one of these buzzwords that we hear quite a lot about. One of the things I always say about content marketing is, are you providing the right content to the right people at the right time? This is really, really key. You know, thinking about, for example, what time of the year is it right now? You know, it's the fall. So, you know, think about the conversations that you have with your clients this time of the year, right? We're about to get into the holiday season. What does that mean for buyers and sellers? Getting your home ready for the holidays, schools in session. Sort of thinking about seasonality of content is a really important piece of your content strategy. And there's some great tools. For example, how many of you have a Facebook business page? Raise your hand. Okay, great. So if you have a Facebook business page, at the top of your Facebook business page is a little button called Insights. And when you click that Insights button, it'll show you all this amazing data about your page. But one of the best parts about that is a button that says Posts. So you click Insights, and then you click a button called Posts. And I don't think you can see this from your mobile device. You might only be able to see this from your laptop or your tablet. But what you'll be able to see is you'll be able to see the people who like your page when they are online the most. And it'll show you a graph of, oh, the people who like your page are more online at 6 a.m. versus noon, or they're more online at 9 p.m. Versus 7 p.m. It's really fascinating to look at what time of day people are online. When are people consuming your content? Are they reading your blog on a Saturday morning with their cup of coffee, or is it Monday morning when they're rushing to get their kids to school? Think about how all of you consume content. If you're like most people, you consume it, 75% of people are reading content on their mobile device. I'm feeling a little detached because my mobile device is way out there, a little separation anxiety. But think about how you're connecting with people. You're on your mobile device, you're at a meeting, you're standing in line at Starbucks, you're in your car waiting to pick up your kids, and you're on your phone and you're doing this, right? And we're scrolling, right? So catching people the right time and having the right context is really, really key. This is called a content grid. If you've heard me speak before, you've heard me talk about this before. What a content grid is basically like an editorial calendar. And by the way, I have a free copy of this on my website. If you go to katielance.com and sign up for my email newsletter list, you'll get a free download of this. But what you're seeing here is actually 32 ideas of content for your blog, for your social media channels, for your online presence. Because the biggest thing I hear from people in the industry is, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to write about. What would I do a video about? What would I post to Facebook? What would I post to Twitter? Who's posting things to LinkedIn? The idea behind this is to give you 30 or so ideas of what to think about, what to talk about. The idea behind this is that you could take this, it's fairly generic, and run with it. Well, of course, you could customize it to your own business. So it's a little thing that can really make a big difference. Now, when we talk about content, content could be written, it could be a blog, but more and more, some of the best types of content are visual. We're living in what's called the photo economy. I believe Guy Kawasaki coined that phrase. He's the former chief evangelist for Apple. And we're really living in the photo economy, meaning if you were to go on Facebook right now, the number one thing that's probably going to stand out to you are the photos, right? And it's no secret. If you want to get a lot of engagement on Facebook, one of the best ways to do that is through photos. And I don't know about you, but I don't even have a digital camera anymore. All my photos are stored on my phone, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but we're all walking around with these amazing devices. So when you think about, oh, I don't have time to stop and create content, I want you to encourage you to think about your life as content. Meaning, what are things that you're doing throughout your day that you could snap a photo of and share? This event is a great example. If you're not sharing that you're at an event, that you're taking time out of your busy day to educate yourself, that's part of your story, right? And so how do you talk about yourself without saying, hey, I'm number one, call me today, because we know that doesn't work, at least on social media, right? You do things like share why you love what you do. You share an event like this, or you share something amazing maybe you saw on broker tour, or you share the moment a client is signing their paperwork for the first time, or they're getting that set of keys. There's these moments of opportunity in our business that are really personal. And through photos is a great opportunity to tell that story and to share that kind of content. Instagram is another platform that's growing by leaps and bounds. If you're someone who's really thinking about targeting Gen Xers, Gen Yers, millennials, 9 times out of 10 they're on Instagram. Why? Because their parents are on Facebook. The largest growing demographic on Facebook right now are people between the ages of 50 and 65. So we're seeing a lot of sort of the younger generation be on Instagram or Pinterest. Pinterest is growing like leaps and bounds as well. Did you know the number one term that's searched on Pinterest is the word home? It's pretty fascinating. And Pinterest, for those of you who don't know, it's a little bit like an online scrapbook. People can pin boards, and we're seeing a lot of buyers who are doing this, who love Pinterest and are creating dream boards of their dream home, or they're putting decorating ideas up. I know I did this. I just bought a home about a month ago, and I created a board of playroom ideas and ideas for our dining room, and it's a place where people do a lot of dreaming about home. Now, Pinterest isn't for everybody. In fact, 80% of Pinterest users are female. No offense, guys, but Pinterest is an amazing site. The people who are on Pinterest typically spend more time on Pinterest than any other site. And for those of you who love Pinterest, you're shaking your head because you know what I mean. It's very addictive. So it's incredible to see sort of these platforms grow and develop. I actually wrote an ebook about a year ago all about Instagram and Pinterest for real estate. I unfortunately don't have time to cover it all on this talk right now, but it is a free download. If you go to katielance.com/Pinstagram, it's kind of a mouthful, Pinstagram-ebook. It talks a lot about really how to leverage Pinterest and Instagram for real estate specifically. And it talks a lot about different websites and analytics and ideas for what to post and how to integrate it with your online strategy. We're seeing these really grow at an incredible rate. So email marketing, this is another big piece of it. Email is not as exciting as social media, but it's hugely important, right? Because think about email, right? Think of how often you're in email, right? I bet you a lot of you are in email right now. As I'm talking about email, you're looking at your email, right? And when you give someone your email address, there's a lot more of a intention than just clicking that like button, right? You're giving someone your email. And so I really found through the clients I'm working with, talking to agents across the country, talking to people in title and mortgage and just our industry in general, your online strategy has to include email in some sense of the word, especially if you start going down this road of creating content. There's nothing worse than creating a blog and saying, okay, Katie, I'm going to blog twice a month or once a week or once a month, and then now what? Well, guess what? That one blog post about the 5 ways to get your home ready for the fall, that could be an email newsletter that goes out to all your clients. That could be a post on Facebook. That could be turned into a short video. That could get tweeted on Twitter, post on LinkedIn. It's all about these sort of extra effort that goes into place. And email is a huge piece of it. There's some great products that are out there. I know Happy Grasshoppers today, they're here today. They're a great product. MailChimp is a great product. I use MailChimp. There's Constant Contact. If you haven't thought about email marketing, I really encourage you to think about it, because I know 10 years ago when I first started going down this road of marketing and real estate, a lot of the agents I would talk to would think, well, I send out a group email through Outlook. Isn't that email marketing? No, that's not email marketing, because you're not managing who's unsubscribing. There's so many nuances to email marketing that are really, really powerful. I actually wrote a blog post about it. So here's a link too for more information about email marketing. I like to put a lot of links up here, by the way, just because I did have a short period of time. So feel free to check that out, just katielance.com/email marketing. Video is another piece of your online component. Video is huge. They always say a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? Well, what about a video? Here's an interesting statistic. Most people retain 95% of the message in a video compared to only 10% of what they read. We have a short attention span, would you not agree? We have an incredibly short attention span. We like things like 15-second Instagram videos, 6-second Vine videos. I remember when Vine first came out. Vine is owned by Twitter, by the way. It's a video social network. And they were promoting 6-second videos. I said, 6 seconds? What can you say in 6 seconds? Well, it's amazing what can be said in just 6 seconds. Look up what General Electric is doing or Lowe's is doing with 6 seconds on Vine. It's pretty incredible. It used to be that I would tell people, if you're going to make a video, make it under 5 minutes. And now I tell people, if you're going to make a video, make it short, make it under a minute, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, right? Because haven't we all gone down that road where you click play? I don't know about you, but I am so impatient. I click play, and it's like, if it doesn't catch me, I'm on to the next thing, right? Or if it takes a long time to load. But video can be really, really key. I did a whole post about video marketing. I want to give you one tip to write down. So if you're like a lot of people who haven't done video because you don't like how you sound on video, you don't want to learn how to edit video, it just seems like a big pain, I want to give you a tip. One of my favorite websites is a website called Screener. It's like the word screen, so SCREENR.com, screener.com. Screener.com is a free platform. You can also pay for it if you want, but it's a free platform that will allow you to do screen capture video, which is great. So if you want to dip your toe into the water with video and not be seen on video, right? I hate seeing myself on video. Screener.com is a great way to do a video. It only allows you to do a video for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, it'll cut you off. And what happens is you go on the website, you click record, it'll frame your website, and you basically do a video where you're clicking on your website. So maybe you do a video about what's happening in the market, the top 3 things that people need to know about the market right now. Or you want to talk about something that's on your website, a great source that you have, whatever it might be. So screen capture video is a great way to kind of dip your toe into this content marketing, into this video world. Really, really easy source. Mobile. I can't talk about online marketing and not talk about mobile because, let's face it, we are all walking around with these microcomputers in our hand. Isn't it amazing that the iPhone was only invented in 2007? 7 years ago, right? Incredible to me. And now everyone's talking about the 6 and the 6 Plus. Anybody order the 6 or the 6 Plus yet? Nice, right? It's all the debate of how big is it? Does it fit in my hand? I don't know. So mobile is hugely important. One of the most important things is, how does your website look on a mobile device? Because most of the time when we're consuming content and we're looking at someone's website, or email for that matter, how does your email look on a mobile device? There's a great site out there called mobiletest.me, where you can put in the link to any website and it'll show you what it looks like on every device. It'll show you what your website looks like on an iPhone, on an Android, on any other device that's out there. So when you think about your online strategy, part of it has to be, how does it look on mobile? And your mobile strategy can't just be the website shrunken down, because we all hate that, right? We're like pinching and scrolling, right? So how does your email look on a mobile device? How does your Facebook page look on a mobile device? How does your website? Those are things that make a really big difference. I remember this phone. Anybody have a Razor? Yes, I had a pink Razor. I loved my pink Razor. I had that Razor for like 3 years. Actually, I think I replaced it a few times. And I remember saying to myself, I don't think I'll ever need one of those phones with the internet. Why would I need the internet on my phone, right? Because we used phones for texting. Anybody remember that game Snake, where you play Snake on your phone? Or what's the other one? There's a couple of little, basic games. But really, the iPhone transformed how we communicate, how we keep in touch with people. It's pretty incredible. So here's some interesting statistics about mobile, too. It's really changed our behavior in a lot of ways. If I were to ask you, what's one of the first things you do when you get out of bed? 9 times out of 10, if you're like most people, it's check your phone, right? How many of you sleep with your phone near your bed? All right. A lot of you do, right? A lot of you take it into the restroom. You take it to other places, all right? I won't ask you to raise your hand on that one. But what do you do when you first wake up online? Interesting statistics. 89% of people 18 to 24 are checking their phones right away. And it's not a much lower percentage for everyone else. 79% of people check their phones first thing in the morning. Is that good? Is that bad? That's a whole other conversation. But it's really transformed how we communicate and how we're always on, right? Context is key. I talked a little bit about this earlier. How do people consume content? They're 9 times out of 10 scrolling through your content. They're looking at your videos. They're looking at your social media, all on a mobile device. So it's just an important piece to think about when you're thinking about your entire online strategy. Social media is a huge piece of this. One of the things I'm seeing with social media is this trend towards social intelligence. People ask me all the time, what's the next big thing with social media? And I feel like it's really social intelligence. There's 2 apps to write down if you're taking notes. The first app is Refresh, the Refresh app. So what Refresh will do, once it's downloaded to your phone, it'll connect with your calendar. And about 15 minutes before you have an appointment, it'll send you a text message that says, your dossier for Chelsea is ready. Would you like to view it? And you click on that, and what I'll see is I'll see Chelsea's LinkedIn profile. I'll see her most popular social media posts that have gotten a lot of comments or likes or engagement. I'll see where she went to school. I'll see sort of all these details about who she is publicly, right? Regardless if I'm friends with her or not. What's interesting about this app is it's not necessarily so you're going to pick up the phone in that meeting and say, hey, I just saw you posted this today. Right? Don't be creepy. We're not going to do that. But it gives you context, right? It gives you context. If you think about 10 or 20 years ago when you had a meeting with someone, there's very little that we really knew about someone. And of course, nowadays you could Google someone before you meet with them. But there's some amazing apps that are pulling from social media, and they're working with your calendar to help you be smarter about the meetings that you're having. Another great app is an app called the LinkedIn Contacts app. The LinkedIn Contacts app. So there's the regular LinkedIn app that probably a lot of you have. The LinkedIn Contacts app, what it does is it, again, syncs with your calendar, and after you've had an appointment, it'll send you an email, and it'll send you a text message saying, you just met with so-and-so, would you like to connect with them on LinkedIn? And it's a great reminder for me, because when I think about LinkedIn, LinkedIn's the first place to start when I first meet someone. You know, I leave an event, I come home with a stack of business cards. You know, I may or may not friend them on Facebook. I just met them, right? The safe bet is you reach out to them on LinkedIn, and you send them a personal LinkedIn request. Hey, it was great to meet you this week in Arizona. Would love to connect with you here on LinkedIn. So these 2 apps are really great because they help you do your business better. They help you be more prepared for meetings when you're connecting with people. LinkedIn is a huge piece of your online strategy. It's definitely where to start in social media. You know, if you're just at the entry point in social media, LinkedIn is a huge piece of it. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, LinkedIn becomes a set it and forget it network, where you set it up a long time ago and you haven't done a whole lot with it since. Well, when someone Googles you, one of the top 3 websites that typically comes up is LinkedIn. So if your profile's out of date, if your picture's out of date, if you don't have anything there, there's a perception that you're not in business. Right? So having your LinkedIn profile updated, taking advantage of some of the opportunities for recommendations. Recommendations, for example, are a great way to really leverage LinkedIn. I know in real estate we can leave recommendations on Yelp and Zillow and Google and all these different places. But there's something kind of special about LinkedIn because it's a professional network. And I always say, be a good finder. Surprise and delight people. Right? When I got that tweet from Virgin America, I was surprised, I was delighted. I was happy about it. I told a lot of people. Who can you surprise and delight? Do you have a great agent that you've worked with time and time again? Why not leave them a LinkedIn recommendation? Do you have a great stager that you know, or someone else in the industry that you just want to kind of surprise and leave them a LinkedIn recommendation? It's amazing when you become really intentional and you say, once a month, I'm going to be a good finder. And I'm going to leave a LinkedIn recommendation, or take it offline, send them a handwritten note in the mail. Facebook, hugely important. I can't have this conversation without talking about Facebook. It's still the largest social media network with over 1 billion people. The average Facebook user has 300 Facebook friends in 2014, which has gone up tremendously. Last year, the last year or 2, it was hovering right around 130, which is pretty incredible. So how do you leverage Facebook? One of the things I talked about earlier is not missing moments. Not missing moments. Real estate is definitely an emotional business. And for most people, buying or selling a home is a really big deal, right? And so capturing these moments, whether it's with a realtor, whether it's with a client, this particular photo had, tons of comments, tons of likes, 2 shares. Guess who shared that photo? They did, right? And that's what you want. When you create content that people want to share with their friends, right? That's really kind of where the magic happens. Here's me and my husband. So I followed my own advice, and about a month ago we closed on our new home, which is exciting. I put it up on Facebook, and I have to say this particular photo has gotten more likes, comments, and engagement than anything I've ever posted on social media. I definitely called my realtor and said, you better share this photo. But it's amazing, again, when you're sharing sort of these personal experiences and you're talking about why you love what you do. Really big opportunity. One of the things I want you to take away when it comes to Facebook is the opportunity to weed through the noise. I talk a lot about being intentional. If you've read any of my blog posts, that's sort of the vein of most of what I talk about is just being really intentional. Facebook lists are a way to be really intentional. So, and I'm talking about your personal profile right now. I know some of you have a business page, some of you have a personal profile. How do you leverage your personal profile? Well, you can't go on your personal profile and just talk all about business because then you'll be that person who people don't want to follow. So you talk about things personally, you talk about things that you're comfortable talking about personally. You might integrate a little bit about why you love what you do in your business. But you also can take your friends and put them into lists. And so what I encourage you to do is do that. Now, don't put all your friends in the list. That will take a crazy amount of time. But if you go to facebook.com/bookmarks/lists, write this one down, facebook.com/bookmarks/lists. You can take your friends who you're connected with and put them into lists. Now, I have a couple examples here. You could make a list called clients, you could make a list called potential clients, you could make a list called realtors, brokers, whatever your list might be. These lists are private, so people aren't going to know they're on a list. They're not going to know the name of your list. But the benefit to putting someone on a list is instead of every morning when you're waking up looking at your 500 Facebook friends, you take 5 minutes. Now, you have to do this before you open your email, because once you open your email is like a black hole. So 5 minutes in the morning before you open your email, you go to Facebook and you click on your client list, or you click on your realtor list. And what you'll see is the 5 or 10 people you're actively working with right now. Now, of course, you have to be friends with them. And some of your clients aren't Facebook people. They're private. Well, that's fine. You're going to connect with those people other ways. But there's a lot of people who are Facebook people who would love to connect with you on Facebook. Those are the people who are going to be on the list. So you put them on a list, and now what are you going to see? Well, you click on the list in the morning, and you'll see those 5 or 10 people, and you're going to see things like what they had for dinner last night. You're going to see the fact that their kids just graduated college, that they're going to Hawaii, that their husband just got a job promotion. You're going to see all these things that they're doing. And then what are you going to do? You're going to take those 5 minutes, and you're going to click like, or comment, or share. Now, don't click like on everything. Don't be that person. But you're going to engage with those people really intentionally. Why is this important? It's important because relationships are built with these small interactions over the course of time. Right? It's just like in real life. When you meet someone for the first time at an event, you're not best friends with them. You just met them for the first time. And then maybe you run into them 3 months later, and then you run into them at the grocery store, and then a year or two down the line, you've kind of got to know this person. The same thing happens in social media, but it happens much faster. Think about the last time, if you're active on Facebook, think about the last time you posted a photo on Facebook. If you're like most people, if you're like me, you post something, and then about 5 minutes later, you open your phone up, and you look at it to see who liked it, who commented on it, who validated what you just posted. And that's how people are, right? So how do you get really intentional about Facebook? This is one of the easiest things to do. Looking at your current clients, the current people you're working with right now, and then your potential clients, or people that you potentially might do business with in the next 12 to 18 months. Because that's the value of social media. The people I'm talking to right now on Facebook, I know probably won't be clients tomorrow, but I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking of this relationship I'm building with them the next 12 months, 18 months. Think about people you talk to and they say, you know what, I'm just not ready right now. Reach out to me again in 6 months. How do you stay top of mind? Well, there's lots of different ways. Email marketing, content marketing, but there's also the personal piece of it and engaging with people. It's definitely a little thing that makes a really, really big difference. Twitter. It's amazing how many people are talking about house hunting on Twitter. Twitter is one of those things that is pretty misunderstood for a lot of people. There's a lot of confusion around Twitter. But Twitter is actually a pretty amazing tool. There's an ability with Twitter to really reach beyond who you know, to really expand your sphere. Facebook is a little bit more for really developing relationships, in my opinion. But Twitter is an amazing opportunity to expand your sphere. Here's a few screenshots from a few recent tweets of people talking about buying a house. And typically what you'll see is the highest highs and the lowest lows. It's just like any of you. Imagine the last time you left a review for somebody on Yelp, or you had a really great experience, or you had a really bad experience. We turn to social media, and Twitter is a great example. This is, I think, a huge opportunity for anyone in the industry to jump into that conversation and say, hey, you know what, congratulations, or welcome to the neighborhood, or if there's anything I can help you with, just let me know, right? Not, hey, call me today, I work at Fidelity, call me right now, but it's being a part of the conversation, really big opportunity. There's a fun Twitter handle called Tweet a Coffee. Tweet a Coffee, this is a partnership with Starbucks that Twitter's doing, and I talked a little bit earlier about being a good finder. You can actually go to Tweet a Coffee. There's a link when you go to that. It's actually twitter.com/Tweet a Coffee. And they've got a link in there of how to do it. You put your credit card in, you align yourself with Starbucks, and then you can actually tweet someone a coffee. So if someone's on Twitter, they're active on Twitter, maybe they're not active on Facebook, but they're active on Twitter, you can actually tweet them a coffee, and they'll get a tweet notification saying, hey, so-and-so tweeted you a coffee. And there's a link. They click the link, and it's a $5 Starbucks card. It's a little barcode. And they walk into Starbucks, they scan the barcode, and you've just given someone a coffee. So we're starting to see more and more things like that where there's opportunities online to just surprise people. You had a great meeting with someone, you just want to say thank you really quick. This is a great way to kind of surprise and delight people. Social monitoring tools, this is another big piece. I could probably talk for an hour just on this. But your reputation management is so important. You want to know what people are talking about you, what they're saying about your brand. There's a few sites that I recommend. Socialmention.com is a great site. That's a free site. Socialmention.com as well as mention.net. They have a free version. They also have a paid version. Both of these are great sites to monitor your name, your brand across all social media platforms. So you want to know if someone left a positive review or a negative review. Same thing with Google Alerts. How many of you have a Google Alert set up for your name? Okay, good, a lot of you. So if you don't have a Google Alert set up for your name, your business, you want to make sure you've got that set up. Just Google the word Google Alerts, and it'll take you right to it. Now, a little tip with Google Alerts, you want to have an alert with your name in quotes. So my Google Alert says Katie Lance in quotes, not Katie, not Lance. So Katie Lance in quotes, just like you would search for something on Google. And what happens is once a day, if I've been mentioned online somewhere, I get an email saying, here's where you've been mentioned. Maybe someone quoted you in an article. Maybe someone wrote a review on you on Google. It's a great way to really manage your reputation. I know a lot of brokers use Google Alerts, not just for their brokerage, but for other agents as well. Why not do a Google Alert for the top 5 realtors that you work with? And that way, when someone gets written up with a really great review, you see it first. And then you send them a note saying, hey, did you see this? Congratulations. Right? Kind of being one step ahead, being a good finder. Advertising, I've got a couple things to wrap up with. Again, this could be a whole nother hour. But social advertising in general is a big part of your online strategy. There's Facebook ads, there's LinkedIn ads, there's Twitter ads, there's Google ads, there's all different kinds of advertising. I want to touch on Facebook specifically. And I was chatting with a few people about this morning. If you have a Facebook business page, and your Facebook business page has become a little bit of a Facebook graveyard, which a lot of Facebook pages become, meaning you've got this page, but nothing is happening. There's 2 ways to fix that. Number 1, you get a content strategy together, and you start posting every day, consistently, to Facebook. Luckily, with a Facebook business page, you can actually schedule out content. Now, don't schedule content years in advance, but you can actually schedule content. There's tools to manage your Facebook page. But the other part of having a successful business page, meaning you're turning likes into leads, you're getting business from your Facebook business page, is investing in Facebook advertising. And like it or not, Facebook is becoming a little bit more of a pay-to-play, because Facebook originally was a way to keep in touch with your friends and family. So if all you saw were ads, we would all leave Facebook pretty quickly. So just keep that in mind. The nice part about a lot of these advertising options is how inexpensive they are compared to traditional marketing. When I first started in real estate almost 10 years ago, I was a marketing director at a boutique real estate company. And I was the girl in the office who would do the full-page newspaper ads. I would design the ads in InDesign. I would do the full-page homes and land ads. And it would just boggle my mind how expensive these ads are. And a lot of you might still be doing those ads. A lot of those ads still work, by the way. Traditional marketing still works in a lot of ways. But I love with a lot of the social advertising opportunities that how many different opportunities there are. There's really opportunities to geo-target, to really, focus on specific zip codes, focus on different demographics. If you've never checked it out before, if you go to facebook.com/ads, facebook.com/ads, they've got lots of tutorials. They actually have a phone number. You can actually call Facebook now and talk to a real person to find out about it. Twitter advertising as well, ads.twitter.com. Huge opportunity. I'm seeing a lot of traction with a lot of the clients I'm working with who are doing Twitter and Facebook, as well as LinkedIn advertising. So my last big point, I know I covered a lot in this presentation, and thank you for sticking with me. I know after lunch it's a little tough. One of the biggest things I want to leave you with is I really encourage you to take the online offline. You know, we live in a world that is so fast-paced that we're always on our mobile device. And I'm reminded with 2 young boys to put the phone down, right? And for me, that was one of the most important things of starting my own business, was to say, you know what, I'm going to control my schedule, and there's certain things I'm just not going to do. There's certain conferences I'm going to have to say no to because I have the flexibility of doing that. Now, not everybody does. But this opportunity to take the online offline is a huge opportunity. You know, we're learning more and more about people than ever before. Sometimes too much information, right? We know everything about people. And so, of course, there's an opportunity when it's someone's birthday to write on their wall and say happy birthday, or there's an opportunity to just pick up the phone or to send them a birthday card. Because I have to say, there's nothing like a handwritten card, right? Anybody agree with me? There's nothing like a handwritten card, especially in this day and age. I don't know about you, but I go home, I get my mail, and it's like, bill, 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 junk, junk. And if there's something that's personal, it's like, wow, what's this, right? There's something very intentional about that these days, right? You have to find the card, you've got to find the address and the stamp, and you have to take 5 minutes and not have any other windows open and be focused on what you're writing. So I encourage you, when you think about your online strategy and you think about your website and blog and video and email and social media, and oh my gosh, there's so much to think about, and you're thinking about all those things, don't forget the personal piece of it, because it's one more tool in your tool chest. It's one more way to communicate with people. It's definitely a big thing, a small thing, but not really a small thing, that makes a big difference. So I've got my contact information up here. Lots of free resources on my website at katielance.com. I also run a group coaching session. That's my next coaching session starting October 3rd. And you can go to getsocialsmart.com to find out more information. Thank you so much, everybody.